Like we said last week, we knew that we were going to have a lot to talk about when it comes to Britney Spears, and she delivered. So her new book, The Woman in Me, is out, and she says in the book that she went along with her court-ordered conservatorship that ended up controlling her life for nearly 14 years. And she did it because of her children. Now, she temporarily lost custody of them back in 2007 after divorcing Kevin Federline and struggling with mental health issues. Now, in 2008, a California judge placed Britney under a conservatorship, and her father, Jamie Spears, took control of her personal life and finances. She said, "Because I played by the rules, I was reunited with my boys." The conservatorship, she said, governed every aspect of her life, including her diet, her career, and even decisions surrounding birth control. She says she wasn't even allowed to drink coffee, and it literally controlled her entire life. So when she says that she voluntarily entered this conservatorship, was she almost blackmailed into this?
Well, Christina, you said it. A conservatorship is the most extreme form of control. Controls all aspects of Britney Spears' life. She's essentially a child. So, I don't know what she was told, but clearly she didn't have an understanding of what a conservatorship entails, because that's not a good way to get your kids back. Because if you can't even take care of yourself, how can you take care of your kids? So whatever was told to her, or at least how she interpreted it, seemed to be incorrect. And we saw some of this play out towards the end of the conservatorship, when she famously called into court and she told the judge that, "I didn't know that I could ask for this conservatorship to end." That's something that her attorney should have advised her. So it's really unclear what she was told, but she clearly did not get the correct information.
No, it is strange that, well, she did switch lawyers towards the end of this process too, right? So maybe she just wasn't getting the legal advice that she needed. I mean, she even claims in the book that she was placed into a rehab because of the conservatorship, that she was given lithium and, kind of locked up against her will. I mean, is that something that could even happen during a conservatorship?
It can. And when we talk about complete control, we're talking about decisions regarding having children or not, what medication you have to take. She talked about the surveillance in her bedroom, and she couldn't even take a bath alone. I mean, these are all things that under a conservatorship, unfortunately, are appropriate. But the question is, should Britney Spears, one of the most talented entertainers of our generation, be under a conservatorship in the first place? And, that's absolutely right. When she did get a new lawyer, Matt Rosengart, a former prosecutor, former Harvard Law grad like myself, he was able to unwind that conservatorship in really short order, because really she probably shouldn't have been under a conservatorship in the first place.
Right, and especially for that long. I mean, when she was placed under the conservatorship, she said that she was going through a really tough time in her life. She was dealing with postpartum, she was dealing with her boys being taken away, and she was placed under, a 5150. I mean, at that time, do you think it may have been appropriate? And, and why did it continue for so long?
I don't think it was appropriate at the time. If having mental health issues or postpartum or even being 5150 was enough for a conservatorship, there's probably a lot of people watching that might be under a conservatorship. It's really, again, the most extreme form of legal control, and it's really the last resort. And even if she was appropriately under a conservatorship for some short period of time, 13, 14 years, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you can travel to Las Vegas, if you can have a residency, if you can make millions and millions of dollars, you don't belong under a conservatorship. So what the judge should have done is, at least every year, taken a step back and said, hey, even though Britney Spears doesn't want to be under a conservatorship, is this really appropriate in this case? Because clearly, at least to folks like myself who are watching, Britney Spears does not belong under a conservatorship. It's really meant for people that are elderly, infirm, they're in a coma, they can't take care of themselves, they have dementia, severe special needs, not someone like Britney Spears.
Is there any legal action that Britney can take now against her father for, putting her in this conservatorship for so long, or because this was a legal conservatorship, there's really nothing she can do at this point?
I think there are steps that she can take against her father, particularly to get an accounting of all the finances. I mean, let's not forget, he made millions of dollars, as did Britney Spears' lawyer, because she was under a conservatorship. Now, we don't know if that was appropriate or not. Certainly don't have access to the books and records, but when we talked about conservatorship, we talked about the conservatorship over the person, which controls Britney Spears' personal life, but there's also a conservatorship over the finances, and Britney Spears had both. She couldn't, even though she was making all this money, she couldn't even spend her own money. And this is something that may have been inappropriate, so I'm sure there are accountants and lawyers going through all those transactions to see what Jamie Spears did and whether it was appropriate or not.